Welcome to NuttieBuddie Entertainment. The good.
That's okay. That's good. That's all right. That's okay.
We good? Okay, let's move on to the good then. Okay, let's start with Brian this time. Brian, what's your first good?
My first one off the bat is Killmonger. I put him in my good just because we didn't get to see him that much, but when he was in this, like I said, that scene with him was absolutely great. They kind of shot themselves in the foot, I think, killing him off. I kind of talked about that in the last podcast, but yeah, it just Michael B. Jordan is such a great actor, and he feels like he belongs in this world, and it just sucks that we don't get him consistently in it.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. 100% on that. We'll talk about that a little bit later too. But because, yeah. Anyway, Chris.
I guess I'll just continue my Namor thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good. They did as good as they possibly could. Like I said, he's an Atlantean. He was created in 1939. He's got wings on his ankles.
Yep.
I would maybe have just said, you know what, we can go away from comic continuity. We can get rid of the wings on the ankles.
But you gotta introduce mutants, man. Come on.
That's true. That's true. Yes, they did say that he is a mutant.
Yeah.
Did he need to fly? Yeah, maybe not. But overall, I thought he was a very good character. Now I will say this hit me the other day when I was thinking about this. His plot, or his villainous plan to attack the world, is basically the exact same plot as the villain from Aquaman. Black Mantis is the same thing. He's like, we're under the water, the surface world is attacking us, like we're gonna go get them. Kind of the same thing Namor wanted to do.
Well, I think for sure they were kind of based off of one another. I don't know who was created first, but they're probably like based off of one another. Yeah. So as far as the little wings, a mutant thing, the only thing I have a question about is apparently he was supposed to get his powers from their version of the herb. So I don't understand. So did he still get powers from that herb, and then the wings are the mutant part of him, or did the herbs give him the wings? I'm kind of confused about that part as far as him being a mutant.
His mother drank it while he was in the womb. So I think it's mutation, where part of the mutation that he got was that he could breathe in water and on land, and then also the wings are part of it too.
Now, with that being said, there are mutants who fly without wings, so they could have just gave him the ability to fly without the wings, because they do look a little funny. I will say that. But I will say some of the coolest action scenes where he would go underwater and you would see him like under there and then him flying up like that. That was pretty cool. But someone made a good point. It was kind of like, how Captain America has in the comics, he has the wings coming off the helmet, but in the MCU, they kind of just painted on the helmet. Yeah. And so they kind of made that adjustment. So they could have made some adjustment, but is it that big of a deal? Not really. It was fine. No, but
it's still a comic book movie. It's just
correct.
Yeah, like you said, it's a little silly looking.
It is.
As far as his plan too, once they reveal that he can only, go out onto land for a certain amount of time and he dries out, like, okay, you're going to attack the surface world. Like, well, good luck taking over like Nebraska. You know what I mean? Like, you can have Florida, but, once you get inland, you might be having problems, but I digress.
Although it looked like, when they attacked Wakanda, they kind of flooded the city.
That's true.
So maybe they could have just flooded their way to Nebraska. Who knows? Anyway, we don't have to like dissect that big. But you are right. That is fairly interesting. His weakness. My first good. I also had Namor just being alive is good. That's awesome. We're going to talk a little bit about him because I have questions regarding his motivations that I'm kind of I'm not buying. So we'll talk about that in a second. But Val. I have Val as a good. I love when they have continuity. That's the only reason. Like, if you're gonna bring in important things, I'm glad they brought Val in,
Okay.
just like to tie in to the rest of the MCU,
Okay.
to bring continuity. Again, we get no mention, although this is an underwater city, we get no mention of a hand coming out of the ocean, like destroying the entire bed of the earth, but we get no mention of that. So just the little continuity that they had was really nice, that they had some sort of continuity within that. So I gave Val's presence as a good.
Okay.
Any other good?
I had Okoye in my good, her whole progress through kind of what you guys had talked about, but I also liked the Midnight Angels that they brought in from the comics,
Good
having
call.
her kind of go into that. One caveat though, I like the suit, but I did not like the helmet aspect of it, where it looked like the Tony Stark, like Iron Man kind of like inside. I think that's just kind of a cheap way of doing it. I don't know. I didn't mind it much for Iron Man, but to like continue that with like other suits and stuff like that, I'm like, can we not do that, please?
Yeah, it did look a little weird, didn't it? Like especially when she like removed her helmet, and then it still had like the backdrop of her helmet, but not it just kind of looked funny.
Yeah.
No, that's a good call. Good call. You got another good, Chris?
Yeah, the other one main character we didn't mention yet, Lupita Nyong'o, running around doing like spy stuff, kind of like she did in the first movie, but good character, fun character. Some movie studio, please give Lupita like a $50 million like action movie, spy movie. Let her run around Europe and fight spies or whatever.
Yeah.
Instant blockbuster success.
Yeah, Nikita, right? That's who that was in the show, Nikita. How did we like? I forgot to mention this in the great. So another great I'm gonna mention right now is the end credit scene with the young T'Challa. I have a question about that, but maybe you guys might bring it up later. But I did like how. Go ahead.
That scene is later in my.
Okay, interesting. Okay, I actually liked it. I actually liked what they did there, but I wish they would actually brought it earlier into the show, which maybe we'll talk about when we get to when you bring it up in the movie, I should say.
Okay.
Okay. Any other good? Go ahead, Chris.
Brian, please be my guest.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I had Shuri in my good. But specifically her, I loved her new suit with the gold and silver. I thought that was really well done. Especially kind of ties in both Killmonger and T'Challa, kind of like how she's mixing in there. So
that's true, because it was the gold with because the gold of the Killmonger, and then okay,
exactly. Yeah. And I also like how it didn't seem like super CGI like the first Black Panther movie. I like that they actually have like the physical helmet for her as well. But yeah, it didn't seem as bad as when T'Challa had it in the first movie and he was kind of like walking through the field. Like it felt a lot more real. So
that's fair. I like that. Go ahead. You had another one, Chris?
Yeah, I have one quick great one. I remember this, not something I normally notice too much in movies, but I thought the costuming was awesome. Like all the Queen's outfits, like all the funeral garb. Just they did a really great job with the costuming, very pleasing to the eye. My other good would be, I guess, again, Namor related, but I thought the whole scene where he takes Shuri to his city was really cool, and then he kind of tells her backstory. I thought that was just a whole great sequence, that you see the flashback, how his origins. You get kind of a intense for Marvel scene where he comes to the surface and you see, the colonialist Spaniards with the slave plantation, you know, he burns down the plantation. It's implied he kills a priest. It's like, you know, I guess maybe you've had like, you know, several Magneto scenes at like concentration camps, but that's a little intense for a Marvel movie. So I thought that was all really good. And then you have that scene where they're kind of bonding together and it's like, you know, oh, they're going to be allies. I just thought that whole sequence was really good.
Yeah, they both were sort of relating to each other in that moment because, like, you know, other than his people, Namor, everything was kind of taken away from him, including their land and his mom. Even though that happened, it sounded more naturally. But he lost everything, so his main focus is his people. And the same with Shuri, is she lost everything. Now her main focus is basically her people. So yeah, that was a great scene. Yeah.
I did like how his people, like when they were on the surface, they took the direction of like they were blue, and then when they went in water and when they were through the city, they were still like, you know, human, like underneath there. I actually thought that was really kind of cool. I was expecting them just to be blue no matter what, but it kind of also helps show how Namor is different from them too. So
it is funny though, because we saw a preview for Avatar, the water, the new Avatar water, whatever it's called. And so Megan watched the movie with me yesterday, and she's like, I didn't know Avatar was part of the MCU because they're coming out as like blue people.
Yeah. Is it called The Way of Water?
The Way of Water.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, yeah.
Water's having a big moment right now.
I know. Thanks so much for watching this clip of our podcast where we reviewed Black Panther Wakanda Forever. If you'd like to listen to the rest of the podcast, look at the description below. You'll find a link to take you to listen to our other thoughts of the movie. Let us also know your thoughts of Black Panther Wakanda Forever in the comments section down below. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will talk to you guys soon.